Part 2.
Hi, good afternoon. I started working in Aqsa Sharif then and my care now in January 2013. It was after 9 months of early retirement and 25 years of working in a multinational organization. During my working years, I've been involved in manufacturing, process engineering, semiconductor engineering, project deliveries, and contract management. So those experiences were brought into Aqsa Sharif in January 2013. My first few months in Aqsa Sharif was with regards to rebuilding, strengthening, reorganizing, and stabilizing the organization of Aqsa Sharif at that point of time. Late 2012, there was a sudden growth and sudden trust from the Malaysian public towards Aqsa Sharif. In March 2013, me and 3 other board of trustees of my care went into Gaza. The objective was to audit the projects that we have delivered prior to those dates. It was in the cold winter in 2013. It was an eye-opener for me as an individual. Prior to this experience, I've only watched people going for missions. I've only watched people doing public donations and so forth. So this is an eye-opener for me going into Gaza. In between audits, we were brought to visit the security forces along the beach, along the borders in Gaza. One of the experiences that I've had when we were introduced to one of the security guy along the beach. It was in the cold weather at night. Everyone else was wearing a thick jacket and security boots with the weaponaries that they have and so on. So I look at a security personnel. He was only wearing sandals at the point of time. Thick socks, but only with sandals. The first thing that came into my mind, a question was asked: do you have a sandal? You only have sandals, or you don't have any boots at all? So there was no answers given. So it triggered me somehow. So I've made a commitment to him personally, saying that we will take care of your family. That situation shows that he may have difficulty in getting boots for himself to defend his country. So what happened was, we have made a personal commitment saying that you do not have to worry about whatever benefits or whatever welfares that you need for your family members. You just leave it to us. We will take care of all those welfare, all the things that needed to support your family members, and you have to only focus on the security of your nation. So it was it was an experience to me and an eye-opener on the humanitarian world. In this mission, we were also auditing the school. We have had projects on pre-education, primary schools, secondary schools, and the universities. So we have delivered few millions of ringgits prior to that to rebuild after the war. There were war in 2008, 2012, and the latest was 2014. In 2013, during the audit, we visited some schools. Some of the schools were partially damaged. In the whole of Palestine land, there are about 2,963 schools. From the 2,963 schools, there are 1.3 million students, and they have had about 41,000 classrooms. And from the 2,963 schools in the whole of Palestine, there are 714 schools in Gaza alone. war from 2018 have destroyed about 187 schools. 187 schools were damaged during the wars in Gaza, and 167 schools were partially damaged. Education, the right of education is a fundamental right to all human beings, be it in any country, in any religion. So a generation gap, if you lose an education in a particular generation, you lose a leadership in that generation. You will lose the future of the country. You will miss individuals, or you will be missing groups that can lead the country to benefit the nation and to rebuild the country itself. So in one word, if you lose that generation, the education for that particular generation, you will lose the whole rebuilding of that particular country at that point of time. So my care has initiated a lot of projects and focusing on education, especially in Gaza and other parts of the world. There were a few projects that we have identified in Gaza with regards to education. We have supported the Back to School project, where kids will be given school bags, books, uniforms to enable them to go to school. In one of the incidences that we have had in 2015, there was a guy by the name of Amir. He was one of a good student, a very excellent student, and he was very a clever guy. One day the teacher found out that he misses classes. He has stopped going to school. Later we found out that the main reason for him for not going to school was because he had only one school uniform that has to be shared with his brother. And as he grows, the uniform does not fit himself anymore. So he quit school just for that reason. When we visited, we told them that we will be supporting him. We will be continually supporting the education system in Gaza in whatever reason. Although at times, we have got to prioritize. Example, in winter, we have got to prioritize between a school uniform or clothing for winter. That's one of the experience and incidents that we have. After the war in 2014, we helped to rebuild a school in Gaza. It cost us about more than R1 million to rebuild the building for schools meant for children in Gaza. In 2015, when the Palestinian Authority started, when they have stopped paying wages for the teachers, it was a big impact in 2015 when the whole government servant were denied their wages, their monthly salaries. So it somehow almost killed the education system in Gaza alone. The teachers were not given the salaries, and they have problem going to school to continue educating the children of Gaza. It was in 2015 when we decided to support. We have worked with the Ministry of Education in Gaza to run, to promote or to introduce the transportation system for the teachers to school. The teachers are committed to educate without the salary, but they have problems in transporting to the school. What we did was, we transferred an amount of money, a total of 450,000 ringgit, to support the transportation. 83 buses were rented. 83 buses were rented to transport 1,520 teachers for 6 months. It cost us 450,000 to support the educational system in Gaza at that point of time. So it was developed and arranged and discussed together with the Ministry of Education in Gaza. It was a very instrumental project that we have had. The experience that we have had with teachers calling, arranging for buses, making sure that they can get to school on time. So that was Gaza. So to date, my care has supported a total of 12 million ringgit for educational system for the people of Gaza. Nearer to home, we have started looking into the educational project for the Rohingyas. There were a lot of issues, a lot of stories and news about Rohingya currently. We know that there are about 1 million Rohingya in Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh, almost 1 million of Rohingya still living in Arakan, and we have about almost 200,000 of Rohingya in Malaysia. One of the examples that we can share with regards to children missing the proper educational system is the example that we have had earlier this year in Malaysia. It is not a good example that we want to share, but it is something that we should know. There was a tahfiz in Kramat in Kuala Lumpur where 23 students were killed. They were killed in the fire, and the fire was initiated by the Malays themselves, children aging from 12 to 16 years old. These children were school dropouts. Dropping school will create disciplinary issues, and disciplinary issues will create social problems. So this is the experience that we see. This is the thing that we see living within us. So we can imagine Malay boys at the age of between 14 and 16, school dropouts, disciplinary issues can create social problems and cost 23 lives. So I just wonder if you can share what we have. I would like to share what I have in my mind. We are talking about 90,000 registered Rohingya in Malaysia with UNHCR. And of course, without proper documentation, we are looking at double or triple the number. So we are talking at about 150 to 200,000 Rohingya in Malaysia living amongst us, within our community. If no proper education were given to them, just imagine the social impact that can be created because of these numbers. So we have got to help. We have got to educate. We have got to make sure that these children are given a proper education so that they can live their lives to be a proper human being. We are talking about helping them out in the case if they are allowed to go back to their country in Myanmar. So we have got to educate them for proper education so that they can be leaders among themselves. They may be going back to Myanmar or they may not be going back to Myanmar. If they were to go back, we may be looking at 5 years from now, 10 years from now, or 15 years from now. Or else, if they are not allowed to go back to Myanmar, they will be living amongst us. The risk that we will be facing if these children are not being given a proper education is the social impact and the social problems that we can see. And the numbers living amongst us is very significant. Let's help us to develop the educational system. We are talking about tens of schools only in Selangor, more than 20 schools in Johor, madrasah. We are talking about 100 over schools of Rohingya throughout Malaysia, schools and madrasah. So how can we help? How can we work with the authority to make sure that the educational systems are developed for them and to raise and develop youngsters that are properly educated, disciplinary wise, and the social aspect, because we have got to help them to be ready if they were to send back to their country, or if they were to stay in Malaysia. These will be the leaders trained and developed to manage their community. In Malaysia, 200,000. In Cox's Bazar, they're talking about almost 1 million, and in Arakan, we are talking about 1 million. So let's work together let's work on how we can assist them to develop their nation while we contribute ourselves and build ourselves towards being a better human being in life. Thank you. How are you, Popolo?